Hello and welcome to Phillips Gallery. I'm Edward Bateman and I have work currently on exhibition here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and how some of this work was constructed. For those of us that grew up in the American West, the mountains that surround us have been a large part of our definition of what home is. Home is more than just the little space that we live. It's this environment and this space. During the pandemic times, our definition of home has shrunk. It has had to get smaller, often to just within four walls. So many of our experiences have been mediated through computers, through technology, and I think that's caused our sense of home in some ways to shrink and to get much smaller than we're used to. But we've kept all those memories of all those places, of what home is, those spaces that we've been to. All of us, I think, have had experiences with mountains. We all have mountains that are important to us. For me, it's Mount Olympus. It's the mountain that I grew up with. But I have memories associated with all of these places. The first time I went to a mountain and who I was there with. I remember being out of the state for a few months and returning and seeing the red rocks of southern Utah. And I had this feeling, now this is home. This is what I can relate to. So for me, these images evoke the sense of home, this place in the mountains that we all live. And they remind me that for those of us here in the West, home is a greater space, and it's our memories that make a place special. So during this pandemic time, I've been working from home, probably like most of you. And so I've been photographing the landscape, and the landscape of our area here in Utah. The way I've been doing this is maybe a little bit unique. I've been taking U.S. Geographical Survey data and constructing mountains using my 3D printer. I thought you might find it kind of interesting to see what these models look like, to give you a sense of the scale. I think in my images you'll find that you expect them to be much larger. They're about 7 by 7 inches and maybe about 2 inches high. This is the back side of Mount Timpanogos. And you can see that there's lines, contour lines that have formed. I printed these at a slightly lower resolution so you could almost see the topographical strata of an image like this. I have a lot of landmarks that I think people in this area would recognize. This is Dead Horse Point, and it's fun to see the winding of the river and how it has eroded the area around it. This is Mount Olympus, the mountain I often call my mountain. Like a lot of the strata here in the West that was built up layer by layer, these images on the 3D printer are built up layer by layer, one at a time, and it's a process that takes about 8 hours. These were constructed using U.S. Geological Survey topographical data, so they're quite accurate in some ways. It's almost sort of like a three-dimensional photograph in that it's an image captured as data that's been produced and printed in a more tangible form. So like real nature, there's been a process of erosion. I would use a sandblaster on these in some ways to give them a little bit more texture and a little bit more variation. And then I would douse them in dilute India ink, which would stay in the crevices and give it some texture that in some ways, especially I think in the photographs, appear almost like a real rock texture. And so I would take these models, and then on my kitchen table, I would sometimes use natural daylight to photograph them, and also a little small fog machine to create fog and haze, essentially give them the sense of actually being in a place. The clouds would change so rapidly, in just milliseconds, they could be completely different. And so I would literally shoot hundreds and hundreds of each scene as it would change with the clouds rolling through it. And sometimes the clouds would follow the contours of the images and really surprise me. It was always amazing to discover what I had captured. The history of landscape photography was shaped by an idea that arose in the 1700s, the idea of the sublime. The sublime kind of defines that powerful experience that we have in the natural world, the grandeur, the majesty, the overwhelming sense that sometimes mountains can give us. It can almost be close to a sense of fear, but it can also be that acknowledgement that we're part of something bigger, that we're part of a larger place. One of my questions that I was trying to ask myself as I made this work is it possible to capture some sense of the sublime in bits of plastic? Can I take these models and create something that gives us a sense of that grandeur of nature? And if so, where is the idea of the sublime located? Is it located in the shapes? Is it the mountains themselves? Or is it maybe something different? In this work, I think I discovered that the sublime lives within us. It's our own personal experience. And these images, or any photograph or painting of nature, the sublime may not be in that itself, but it may trigger the memories, the stories that we have with these places. And I think that's something that was lost during the pandemic, this sense of something much bigger than ourselves. And that's something I tried to capture, to evoke in this series of work. These images were created specifically for this show here at Phillips Gallery, and I'm really proud of the work that I've made, and I hope that you'll get a chance to see them. Amen.